Hey everybody, welcome to the Muddy Reviews. Today we're checking out the Shaw Concepts ARC V2 shoulder pads. These are some pretty great shoulder pads. I won't lie, I do like them. I've worn these on and off for a few days now. Been messing around with them. I will say they are the best shoulder pads I've ever worn. I will say they are absolutely not the worst shoulder pads I've ever worn. They are loaded with some cool features. I like the features they have. I think some of the features these V2s have on them, I wish some of the other shoulder pads I have had. And I will say that some of the other shoulder pads I have, I wish these had on them feature wise. So let's jump into this. So these are, like I said, the ARC V2s from Shaw Concepts. What these kind of bring to the table is they've got good cable management. These are a little 1-inch cable management slots, and these also help you run shoulder mounted armor. That was kind of one of the things Shaw was talking about on their informationals, saying you could run like deltoid armor from these, which I thought was kind of interesting. Cable management's not bad. I have a portion in the rear end of this video where I will show you a cattail wearable antenna running through the cable management slot, so you'll get to see that. One of the big things they were talking about when they kind of talk about these pads, and one of the things they bring to the table is the fact that all this spacer mesh isn't just for your shoulders and your like delts. Yeah, delts, I think. It goes all the way up here, about a quarter way up, almost halfway up the shoulder pad to really help your neck. And I do think that is fantastic. We'll talk about more of that later. The pad itself is really robustly padded. It is not structural, but it is still nicely padded and it has a good shape language and a good arch to it. It is your sandwich style. You open it up. You know, it's using laser cut technology for most of the body portion, and then you have some one wrap inside here to help really anchor it in. Now, I did notice when I'm running it on my Faro Concepts Slickster Molly base, even with using this one wrap anchor points, I still have some play and movement that I can't seem to take completely out of the shoulders. There's a little forward back shifting. I can't quite seem to get it anchored the way I want. It's not too bad, but it still is present, and that kind of sucks. It won't shift terribly under movement. It's not like once I get them where I want them and I'm moving around and walking for long periods, or doing like I'm up, they see me, I'm downs and iads and shit, and shifting and crawling, that they shift terribly, but they still do move a little more than I'd like them to. So I can't quite get them to anchor in the way they are in kind of Shaw Concepts thought them to be anchorable. So I don't know if that's really a issue with the integration with the Faro or the pad itself. I think it's more of a Faro thing, but I'm going to mess around with some other carriers and see if I can get them to anchor a little better over time. We'll see. I might mess with the JPC later. I didn't think to do it before this review, but inside you do have Shaw Concepts little logo, a little SC, and then Conquer All, made in the USA. So they are Berry compliant. They are made in the USA. You have a big, generous loop field covering the entire opening here, and a big hook field. So they do mate and secure really well once they are on. And then you've got, it's about 1.25 inches from the closure point out on either end of excess body that you have from where you put it on your shoulder strap. So they are a good size. Overall length, they're pushing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 8.5 in length total, because it's about a quarter on each end, roughly, excess spillage over. So yeah, you're looking at about almost 8.5 in length. Yeah, right about 8.5, and that's a pretty decent length you're playing with. And then width-wise, you're sitting at its narrowest right about 2 inches, and at its widest, you're at 3 inches. So pretty good width as well. Not too wide, not too narrow. Definitely a nice shoulder pad, I won't lie. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take these guys and we're going to put them on Faro Concepts real quick. This is the Faro Concepts Molly base plate carrier that we've been messing with and reviewing. We're going to put these on here. So this is the Molly base. The whole under half of these shoulders are Velcro. So I don't really see why this wouldn't, you know, ratchet, like get in there real good and tight and snug, but it doesn't seem to. But I guess part of that could be because there is no hook on the under portion of this guy here, and then there's no loop on the top. So that might be why we have that sliding going on that I mentioned. If there was some hook on this portion, if there was a little bit of hook somewhere in here, and there was some loop here, that would probably mitigate some of that. But because there's none of that, there's no hook on the pad and there's no loop on the top, we're not getting that marrying that we want, that full like marriage to stop that movement. And that's kind of why we're getting. Now, if I get this one wrap really, really, really ratcheted in and just kind of really cinch it down, I can kind of get that movement. Oh, I have that backwards. I can get that movement I was talking about to kind of get minimized, but it's still there, just not as bad. So let's really crank on this one wrap. Yeah, really get that over. So when I do that, it does kind of get it a little bit. Like here, this one kind of has a lot of free play in it, and this one I really got to try to move it. So as long as I do that, as long as I kind of crank that one wrap down, we have a little better marriage of the shoulder strap. So let's do that again here. Really get that one wrap in there. Just really take advantage of that internal one wrap, and then we'll slide it where we want it. All right, now we got it on the plate carrier. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take it off the table. Gonna go outside, and I'm gonna go and do a walk. We'll go for a long walk, about 1.5 miles with it on, and then I'm gonna run around, mess around, do some drills, and then we'll talk about it. All right, please mind the wind. Might get a little windy, a little noisy. So we got the Shaw ARC V2s. Like I said, it's on the Faro. So what we've done so far, as far as wear testing, we've gone for about 1.5 miles walking them, medium to mild pace, nothing crazy, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not here trying to kill myself. Just some mild running around the property, some little IAD shit, just some drills, nothing crazy. Again, just simple airsofty stuff, because again, I'm not breaking myself off right now. I just don't have the drive. And I don't have the ability to break myself off out here. When I get to an actual game, I can try to do all that. And then if I can find a range where I could do some more advanced-y type shit, like some of these other guys seem to find ranges where they can do shoot and move, maybe I'll try to do some of that. But for now, not happening. Wore them just fucking around the property, picking rocks up, moving them from one place to the other, helping the wife for about 2 or 3 hours total of wear, just in one sitting. And they're not making me want to like drive a knife through my eye, so that's a good sign. Most shoulder pads and most plate carriers after about 45 minutes of wear are just fucking horrible. These aren't the worst I've ever worn. They're actually on the comfortable side of the spectrum. For me though, personally, I think I still lean towards my axles. That is because I have a pretty gnarly shoulder problem. I got a bunch of just torn up shit in here, and the axles actually have a structure to them, and it kind of mitigates a little of that injury, where these still aren't quite cutting it in that realm. But they are extremely comfortable. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the thing these guys bring to the table that I absolutely love is all of this mesh right here. I wish my axles had that, because when I got into awkward positions or moved around a lot, that mesh is what hits my neck, and that is way more comfortable than Cordura rubbing my neck. Hands down, Shaw wins there. I wish I could say that the double fastener system that we talked about at the beginning of the video was really awesome and was keeping everything in place, but I can't really tell with the Faro because it's the nature of the shoulder mounting of the Faro. I don't know if it's doing what it's supposed to do. There is still a little bit of play. I can move it around, as you see, but they still kind of stay where I want them to, under movement, under dynamic movement. Again, I'm not like running a quarter mile sprint or any crazy shit like that in these. I can't do that shit. But they're still staying for a long walk. They stay where they need to be. They minuscule shifting. If they had the right interface with the Velcro and all that stuff, I don't think they would move at all. I think they would just lock in. So that's another bonus for these things. When we go back to the table, I'm going to show you the routing, the 1-inch routing. I'm going to show you cable routing through it so you guys can actually see how that works. I have already messed with it a little bit. I do like it. I think it's pretty good. I wish I had a like a delt armor to actually run through there, because that's something Shaw talked about in their description. When I got these off Offbase, I was reading the description, Offbase Supply Co. And in Shaw Concepts' description of their product, they talk about using those cutouts for integration of armor. That'd have been kind of nice if I had some of that armor to try to integrate to test that theory out, but I don't. But that is kind of cool that they did think about that for plussing up the system for armor. But overall, I do think they're pretty great shoulder pads for what they are. For me personally, I think they're going to be okay and good, but I still think the axles win just sheerly because I have a fucked up shoulder and injuries. If I was completely healthy, had great shoulders, I was like, oh, I'm a stud. I think these would be badass, and I think they would be a wonderful pad that I would probably be my go-to. But with that be just with my personal issues, these are probably my second choice now. They definitely beat out any of my old Eagle pads. Those are now binned, and the replica Ferro pads. My son still likes those well enough, but I have a feeling he is hoping I get some Ranger Green axles so he can inherit these, and the replica Ferros get binned, because these are pretty rad. So let's go back inside, back to the table. We'll finish up talking about these. We'll talk about the cable management, and we'll go from there, and I'll give you my final thoughts, and that'll be it. All right, everybody, so we're back on the table with the Shaw Concepts shoulder pads. So as it was so lovingly, and I don't mean that sarcastically at all, pointed out to me in the comment section of my last shoulder pad review. Good looking out, dude. I really do appreciate the feedback. Like, that sounded sarcastic. I meant that. I didn't really show the routing on the other shoulder pads, kind of how you could use them, and that was boo on me. So I'm going to show you that with these Shaws real quick. So on the Shaws, you do have these cutouts. Let me pull this one off. So on the Shaws, you do, like we talked about at the beginning of this, I kind of showed it. I'm going to show it again real fast. You do have these cutouts. These are like comms routing and cable management / hydration routing, little cutouts for everything. I think these are more for comms, to be quite honest with you, because they seem a little thin for hydration tubes. And what I did is, on this other side where I normally would run any of my comms and the whatnot, I have run a wearable antenna from Cattail Antennas. Excuse me. And I have it, man, don't eat spicy Indian food before you record. So I have it running through the Shaw, and so you kind of see what it looks like. So I have it running through, and then I have it coming out the bottom last little cell here, a little cutout, and then it's going to go down here to the little pouch, little wing for the radio, and then boom, that's it. Very easy to use, really nice. I like the Shaw gives you a few different areas to pull it out or kind of run it through, depending on how you want to do it. So it gives you some modularity and kind of how keeps it in your like ball court, how you want to run it and how you want to use it. I do like the Shaw runs all their mesh, like I pointed out earlier, all the way up the pad instead of just kind of stopping it over here. So you kind of have all this excess. So if the pad starts rolling or the gear starts rolling around on your neck, you don't have the chance of getting a major rough or hot spot. It keeps all of this nice soft padding close to your neck. The more you roll around, like if you're in awkward shooting positions or prone, you still have a lot of this soft material closer to your neck and all your soft, squishy bits. Other than that, I think these are pretty good pads. As I talked about when I was outside after wearing these for a hot minute, going for that long walk and just running around with them on, they're not bad pads. They're very comfortable. They do conform nicely to your shoulder and to your body, and they weren't terrible. I just have a really fucked up shoulder. So for me, I still think the axles are the way to go, but I am going to kind of run these for a little while and see if maybe, given time and a longer break-in period, if they get more comfortable. I think there's a chance they might, but I think just with my shoulder injuries, I might need to stick with the axles, given they have that little bit of, like, if I remember correctly, it's like a thermoplastic shank inside of them to kind of help them stay just a little more rigid to kind of form and keep the weight up. But I don't think these are bad. I think Shaw is onto something with these. These are the V2s, and I do think these are a good investment and worth the money. Especially, I like the fact they didn't make these where you have to use these with his carrier. You can use these with any carrier that will accept this style of shoulder pad. Anyway, that's all I got, guys. I hope you got something out of this review. I hope this was useful for you. If you have not seen these Shaw Concept shoulder pads yet, I hope my showing you these may have helped you either decide on grabbing them or possibly not grabbing them, because that's kind of the whole point of this channel, is to help you make informed decisions one way or the other. And that's all I got. So until next time, get out there, guys. Make some cool kits, play some airsoft, train, get on the flat range. Just become a more competent human being and become a asset, not a liability. LARP smarter, not harder. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the field. Take care. Peace.